Welcome back, Kings fans. You're watching the Royal Half Radio Postgame Show with your host, Jesse Cohen.
Cross ice bid, collected by Clark right wing. Clark shoots! He scores! Brent Clark! Oh, what a goal! He fires it in from the right circle on a perfect feed from Pepe.
All right, welcome back, Kings fans. I'm Jesse Cohen. This is Royal Half Radio Postgame Show coming to you live from high above the ice at Crypto.com Arena. Final score from downtown LA, your Los Angeles Kings, gosh, what was it even? 3, the Detroit Red Wings 4 by way of a shootout. That was a crazy game. Apologies for the sound. This is a work in progress. I didn't expect this door right behind me to open and be quite as noisy as it was, but just to give you a sense of where I am, there is the ice at Crypto.com Arena. I hope that you can hear me because I can't hear me, because if I turn my my speakers on, I'll get feedback. So in the future, we're going to figure this out so that I'll have earbuds or earphones or whatever. Anyway, that game was one of the weirdest games I've ever seen. I did not expect what I thought was the game-winning goal to be called back. I mean, the team was on the ice. Carlin Bathe was on the bench. This was ready to go, and they call it back, and Kings lose in a shootout. All that just to lose in a shootout. What a tough beat. It was fun for like 5 minutes, and then the rest of the game was not that much fun. I actually thought the game was kind of boring for long stretches of the second and the third, and even parts of the first. This was a game that should not have been 2-1 at one point. Even 3-1. I felt like the Kings could have had 4 or 5. I felt like Detroit could have had 4 or 5. Like I said, that was just a crazy, crazy game. I don't know. Somebody's saying to Matt hey, tell me how to feel about this game. I'm feeling all over the rainbow. I'm not sure how to feel about this game. You know, I just got back. We talked to Quentin Byfield, Corey Perry, and Jim Hiller in the post game. It was one of those things where like nobody really, I don't think, knew what to ask, and I'm not sure anybody knew what to say, right? Obviously, the game didn't go the way you wanted it to. There's some good, there's some bad. It never should have been 3-1 in the first place. Once it was 3-1, incredible comeback. But how many times can you keep coming back in games like this? You know, I asked Kevin Fiala and Adrian Kempe before they went on the road, is it a good thing or a bad thing that you have to keep coming back? Or, you know, is it a good thing that you can or a bad thing that you have to? And, you know, the answer was both. But this is now 7 out of 12 games that have gone to overtime. I haven't done the math yet. I'm going to, man, this door behind me keeps opening and closing. Sorry, everybody. I don't know how many games it is now, but it feels like almost every game there's a chunk of 3 goals scored in a row by one team. Sorry about that. I'm going to have to pick a different location next time. And there's another one tonight, right? Like, San Jose scores 3 goals, and the Kings get 2 at the end, or not San Jose, excuse me, Detroit. I'm sorry. Detroit scores 3 in a row, and I'm going to do the math when I get home, but it's a ton of different games where just the Kings opponent or the Kings, all the goals come in a row. It's not a back and forth game. It's just one team dominates for a long stretch, and then the other team crawls back in it, whether it was the San Jose game where San Jose crawled back in it, or yes, they do need to give me a crew, but I'm holding my phone. In the future, we'll have a different camera, and so I'll have my phone, and we'll have earbuds and everything. This was a test to see if I could actually do it. This game was unreal, totally unreal living things. I've never seen a game like that where the team was out there. Now, unfortunately, because I'm using my phone to film myself, I can't call anybody. I see people wanting to call in, so you're just going to have to text. Steven Orlando here says, I just can't. Too much to unpack tonight. Just wow. I'm going to bed with this. It was a high stick. Good night. It was a high. I don't know how that goal stood. Jim Hiller was asked about both the calls, the one that counted and the one that didn't. And he said, look, the league weighed in. Detroit didn't even challenge. They thought the calls were right. And that's all he had to say about that, which in my mind suggests that he didn't like it. But I'm just reading into it. Don't anybody quote me on that. Next. Text bizarro theory on tonight's games. The Red Wings high stick goal that was allowed and the Fiala OT goal that was called off were decided by the NHL Situation Room. Yeah. The room is based in Toronto. Those running the Situation Room are all Blue Jays fans and really want to hate on LA because of the World Series. That is the real reason the Kings lost tonight. It's as good an explanation as any I can think of. Final note, Brent Clark got the second most minutes tonight of all defensive players. Yeah, I would have liked to have talked to Jim Hiller about that after the game, but the mood wasn't really there to be sort of nitpicking on minutes. Next text from Jane. Ouch, that was a rough ending to that game. I'm an optimist here, so I'm happy and proud that we were able to come back at the end. The high sticking call was nonsense, and without the goal, we would have won this game in regulation. Whatever. Can you explain more about the OT goal that got taken away? I feel like it was the wrong call because Talbot was moving into Fiala in the wrong direction, might I add. And therefore, the contact with Fiala was on the goalie and was pretty incidental and irrelevant to how Fiala got the puck in. That's just how I see it, though. On to Saturday. Go Kings, go. Jane. Honestly, Jane, goaltender interference, I've seen a ton of people make this joke. I don't know anymore. I literally don't know anymore. That goal, enough contact was made that I'm not stunned that it was called back, but do I think it had to be called back? No. There were a bunch of calls tonight that I felt were kind of like maybe reputational calls where you just sort of go like, why are we calling that penalty right now? Like there was an offensive zone penalty. I don't remember who took it. I'm going to go ahead and try and look at the penalties and see if it can jog my mind, my memory. Why am I looking at a bunch of penalties from Minnesota? Oh, minor, no, Minnesota. It was the Fiala against Alex DeBrincat penalty. Like, okay, he tripped him, but like, why are you calling that? You didn't need to call that. That was, I don't want to say it was ticky-tack because it was definitely a trip, but like, you could have gotten away without calling it. But penalties again, burn the Kings. Detroit scoring 2 power play goals out of 3. We're going to go back to the text again. I'm sorry, apologies. You can't. I can't call anybody tonight. However, I didn't add the QR code. My fault. Hold on. Let me find the QR code and I will add it in. If you want to get on the show, you go ahead and where's my finger? The sorry everybody. The QR code there in that corner. You can scan the QR code and it'll add you in, and hopefully I can figure out how to make it work. Sorry, I don't even know which screen to look at. This is a little chaotic here tonight. Anthony from Glendale. Sorry, Anthony, I can't call anybody because I'm using my phone to film myself because it turns out the camera quality is much better on my phone than it is on my laptop, and the camera I ordered hasn't arrived yet. So that's what we're going with tonight. Yeah. Post-game. Well, wait a minute. Am I still there? No. There I am. I went away for a second. I don't know why. I don't know. So I can see myself on my phone, but not. Can anybody hear me? I don't know. Sorry, I can see myself. Yeah, Muvrari. Mike, you can't see me. All right. Can you hear me, though? I'm assuming you can hear me since you answered my question. Muvrari played a few shifts in the first, and Jim Hill and said that was always the plan, was to get him a few shifts. He just hadn't played. Yeah, I don't know why nobody can see me. That's distressing. I don't know what's going on here. I guess we're just going to go. There. Well, let's see. All right. Well, you can see the rink. Let's see if you can see me, though. Jim Hiller said the plan was to get Jacob Muvrari a few shifts. He hadn't played in a while, so they wanted to get him in. I'm not entirely sure why the decision was made to then just play Jacob Muvrari a few shifts and not Sammy Helenius. They didn't have to go 7-11. If you only wanted to get less than 5 minutes for a player who hasn't played in a while, Sammy Helenius is also out there, but I guess Helenius has played in some games already, so that decision was made. Sorry about the audio blasted higher and worse, Surly Jacob. Apologies. I hope it's okay now. Here's Nate. All right, oh gosh, but you know what? This is going to be tricky because we're going to. Nate, what's going on?
Well, if that wasn't a frustrating game, I don't know what was. That was, I don't understand how the goal stood. That was frustrating. I mean, it was good to see him come back when it was when they needed it. Good to see Q get a goal when they needed a big goal. But overall, I'd say pretty frustrating game overall.
Sorry, I'm trying to cut down on the feedback as much as possible. Yeah, it was totally frustrating, Nate. What did you think of the high sticking goal that I thought should have been called back that wasn't?
As soon as my very first comment out of my mouth was, if LaFerrier's goal didn't count last week, this goal better not count this week. And sure enough, it counted, and I thought, no way that should have counted. But you win some, you lose some. That was frustrating, but I will say, and it hurts to say this, and this is the first time I've ever said this in the 20 years he's been a part of the team, but there were some times tonight where Kopitar's age showed, and it just looked like, oh, you got to shoot that, or he couldn't get his hands right or something. and that it hurt to see. It hurts to say it, and I can't believe I'm saying it, but it was just like, but then he makes a play like on the game winner or potential game winner where he just throw it towards the net and Fiala does the rest. But it's like there were points tonight where it was like, damn, I can't believe I'm actually seeing that and saying that. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to pile on Andrei Kopitar or anything, but he is 38 years old. This is his final season. There's going to be nights like that, but to your point, Nate, there are also going to be plays like he made where the smarts take over, right? The strength of his game was never his speed or his strength. It was always his smarts, and we saw that coming through tonight. Nate, thank you very much. Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off there because juggling all of this at one time is pretty difficult. But appreciate Nate calling in to come on, and just apologies to everybody for me struggling with this tonight. It's a challenge. Yes, somebody mentioned the Molson Index, and yes, definitely a Molson Index game, and we're going to get to that right now because the Molson Index was obviously let me hide myself so you knows his methods, and he tried to go 5-hole, but Cam Talbot stopped him. So some nice words for Cam Talbot from Quentin Byfield. Again, Jim Hiller was asked about Trevor Moore not being in the lineup. He said it was personal reasons, which is what LA Kings PR circulated before the game, which is why the team went 11 forwards and 7 defensemen tonight. Unclear what the wait, is it still no audio, or can you hear me now? Oh man, all right. Well, now I'm hearing people say that they can get audio. So apologies again. We're going to work on this in the future. But no further elaboration on why, what those personal reasons might be, or why Trevor Moore wasn't in the lineup tonight. But again, Kings going 11 forwards, 7 defensemen. Kings yet to get a win on home ice. The Bizarro season continues. Overtimes, shootouts, massive goal swings. Like, I just don't even know what to make of this season. There was some question about, cohesion, identity, whatever, connectivity, whatever words that get thrown around to talk about this team. Everybody remained pretty positive, which I suppose is to be expected. That's what you do when you're a player or a coach and things don't break your way. You just kind of, you got to stick with it, right? I mean, I'm not trying to draw a direct comparison. Again. The season when Todd McClellan was fired, leading up to it, everything was, everything's fine. We're just going to keep doing what we do. And then, it reached a breaking point. So it's a little too early in the season to be thinking like that. But gosh, it just feels like, too many weird things are going on, and they have to start getting wins at home. Blake Ware, statistician extraordinaire, tagged me in a tweet. This is now in Kings franchise history. They have gone winless in the first 4 home games of a season. That's an insane stat. It also happened in 1971 and 72, where they lost the first 8 home games, and 2001 and 2002. Now, I don't remember, and I'm not going to pretend to remember what happened in 1971-72. I was not alive when that happened. But in 2001, 2002, they did make the playoffs, and they lost to Colorado in the first round in 7 games that year after defeating the Detroit Red Wings the year previous. So, I just thought that was an odd stat. But again, it just goes to show Bizarro season. This season is it's weird. It's going to keep getting weirder. Corey Perry, the best player on the team, maybe most consistent goal scorer so far. Go figure. Who would have known? Who would have thunk? Yes, it is a nice Zamboni. I don't know if you guys can hear it all the way up here, high above the ice, but just a truly, truly odd season. And I'm sorry, I'm just stammering because this game was just I mean, so generally speaking, I don't like to leave early. If I'm going to leave early, it's going to be a blowout. So at 3-1, with however many minutes were left when they made it 3-2, I packed everything up into my backpack. I stood up and I had my back turned to the ice, and I was headed towards the elevator from the press box, which, by the way, is over there. I don't know if you can see that. Actually, let me just do this. Let me switch to the back camera for you guys. But the elevator is over there in the press box. I probably shouldn't do that. Anyway, I was headed for the elevator, and the goal horn went off, and I turned around and I thought, all right, well, I guess I'll watch the rest of the game at 3-2. 3-2, then it's 3-3, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is incredible, And I really felt like they were going to win it, and then I thought they did win it, and then the goal gets called back. The crowd, the crowd was actually pretty sparse. I mean, obviously, a lot of people had left already because of the circumstances of the game, and then they call it back, and everybody sits down. There's a shootout, and it's just crazy. When was the last time the Kings had a point per game player? Kopitar in 2016-17. Could you imagine if? Well, Kopitar, I think it was 2017-18 that he had 92 points and should have won the Hart Trophy that year. That is definitely a point per game player. I'm going to guess it was 2017-18 was the last time that the Kings had a point per game player. If Corey Perry, just to answer your question, Matt, if Corey Perry becomes a point per game player over the course of the entire season, I don't know, hang a banner. Like, that would be insane, especially at 40 years old. It would just be massively bonkers. Man, what makes this even more upsetting and disappointing to me is that it was against the Red Wings. I can't stand the Red Wings. Yeah, obviously a lot of that just has to do with the 90s and how good they were, but also in the 90s when you would come to the Great Western Forum and then Staples Center, there was always just a sea of Red Wings fans. And every time, I was walking around the concourses, the first concourse and the first intermission, the upper concourse and the second intermission, and I just saw tons of Red Wings jerseys. And every time I see one, I want to ask them, are you from Michigan? Are your parents from Michigan? Like, what do you... And the only thing I can think of is that there's just a lot of people that lived in Michigan that moved to LA and just never let go of their team, because for the 30 plus years I've been paying attention to this sport, Red Wings fans represent in LA. There's a couple fan bases that show out to Kings games, and it's always been Red Wings fans, and I really can't stand them. I don't like them. Anthony Mercado says, love Perry, but going second on the shootout. Look, it worked. Didn't it work once before, or did he hit the post? I can't even remember now. But listen, Corey Perry's scoring goals, so who am I to question that? DTLA Kings fan says, look like I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue. It's an Airplane reference for any of you who don't recognize it. And if you haven't seen Airplane, by the way, if you're one of those kids whose parents didn't do their job and didn't show you the movie Airplane, you should watch it. It's very funny. But yes, this has been a crazy week for the Kings, and we're gonna go. They'll have a practice. I'm not sure what to make of this. Sorry, everybody. But there will be a practice tomorrow. It won't be a morning skate. It'll be a full-length practice. I'm going to do this again from the practice facility tomorrow. We'll have a. Why do I don't like this. Oh no, I'm gone. No, I hit settings by accident. Okay, hold on. Sorry, everybody. I'm trying to figure this out. So we're going to do a post-practice report tomorrow after practice. It'll probably be around 12:15-ish, 12:30-ish. You can watch it all the same way that you watch this one or any of the other ones. And we'll have quotes from players and the coach, and we'll get into some of the questions. And so if you have any questions that you want asked within reason, you can text them 323-628-1008. I will see those texts, I will consider them, and if I get a chance tomorrow at practice, I can ask them of the coach and the players. We are going to go ahead. We did the Molson Index. We saw that it was Cam Talbot, so we are going to now go ahead and do trivia. everybody. If you can't hear me, I don't know if you can or can't. But again, 3 of those players played for both teams, the Kings and the Red Wings. I hope you can hear me now, I said. Somebody please leave a comment letting me know if you can hear me, and apologies. Rich LM62 says number 20. Yes, Luc Robitaille did play for the Detroit Red Wings, and if I tell you that 3 of them have something in common, I don't know, maybe that will jog your memory. Dion apparently didn't know Blake, but Blake did not. I just want to be perfectly clear. Blake did not play for the Detroit Red Wings. Blake played for the Colorado Avalanche and the San Jose Sharks, not the Detroit Red Wings. But the answer to the question is, and hopefully if I show the answer, you'll still be able to hear me. This is the answer. They're all French-Canadian, the 3 French-Canadian players with retired jerseys, and I'll go ahead if I can and show you the banners from my vantage point right here. There's the banners right there, and it was Rogie Vachon, Marcel Dion, and Luc Robitaille are the 3 players with retired jerseys for the LA Kings that also played for the Detroit Red Wings. I don't know, I just thought that was kind of a cool little piece of trivia. I'll show you the image again, and I'll stop talking because I think when I take my face away, I think the audio goes away too. So here's the answer to the trivia question. All right, so because I'm a lunatic and because I was looking into more stuff, I have another trivia question, which acts really is just an excuse to talk about the history of this club. And so I was curious, what was the first trade between the 2 clubs, the LA Kings and the Detroit Red Wings? What was the first time the 2 teams ever traded together? So I went ahead and I looked it up, and let me make myself go away. What was the first trade between the LA Kings and the Detroit Red Wings? I wouldn't expect anybody to know the answer to this because it was in 1968, but if you happen to know, or think you know, 323-628-1008, or go ahead and toss it in the comments. It was not the Gretzky trade. That was not with the Detroit Red Wings. That was the St. Louis Blues, but very funny, JK. It was Terry Sawchuk, Eric D. You are correct. It was, and Mike, you're right. Well, I don't know. You might have heard of Terry Sawchuk, but the other part of that trade is likely somebody that nobody's ever heard of, because I never heard of him. And the Kings acquired Jimmy Peters Jr., and I literally never heard of that guy before, and had to go look him up. And Terry Sawchuk was the very first player the Kings acquired in the expansion draft in 1967. They took him from the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was the first. The Kings got the first pick in the expansion draft. They took Terry Sawchuk, and then he wound up being part of the very first trade with the Detroit Red Wings in franchise history in 1968, and they got Jimmy Peters Jr. Let me show you that graphic one more time.